Okay, copy, sir. Sir, for the first item in the agenda, it is the determination of shortlisted consultants for the project survey services for the extension and expansion of Vigan Airport, amounting to 2,533,755 pesos. This is an ADMS DOTR downloaded project, sir. I will be the one reporting for this.
Sige, go ahead, please.
May I confirm, sir, if you can see my screen?
Ay, teka lang, Attorney Irish. I'm reading the agenda. Dahil pala. Can we, with the permission of the BAC, can we proceed first to number 4, which was directors? I think this calls for an urgent discussion on our end because this is the instructions of the board pursuant to the LSERV bid, the technical and non-technical personnel support services.
Then, sir, may I first procedure with your permission for the presentation of the bid evaluation report, sir, for
Nang,
ng Manpower po.
hindi na. Bakit pa ipapresent yan? Let's discuss directly what the instructions of the board is based on the presentation yesterday. First, start with the pending request that we have of the contract.
Is
Sige,
also
just
here.
for the benefit of everyone, for everyone's information, if you recall, due to the problems we faced with the processing of the procurement of this particular project, it was recommended that the previous contract be extended in the meantime while we are still wrapping up on the current contract procurement. However, this extension, of course, is beyond the ambit of the BAC's jurisdiction. Therefore, we had to request it through the end user. We had to file a formal request with the hope, which in this case is the CAAP Board of Directors for their approval of extension. And this was put in the agenda yesterday, in yesterday's CAAP Board meeting. Sige, who will present? Wilmar, will you be
Sir
presenting?
Wilmar po.
Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon po, sir. Uh, so, I'll be reading the recommendation of HRMD, sir. Sir, with the present status of the request for out of our manpower on manpower up board meeting March 22, 2022. The board meeting denied the end user request for extension on the ground that the BAC Bravo disqualified APSCO for conflict of interest, which is also the joint venture partner of the current or the present service provider, which is Alserv. So if we will allow the extension, this will also continue the contract with an income which uh, which has the conflict of interest. So the loan bidder, sir, is an Alserv corporation and also disqualified as as yesterday declared by the PAC-PWG during the present procurement activity for the outsourcing of manpower services. Considering we have no choice we have no service provider for manpower for the month of March 2022 until the successful awarding of the next regular procurement. So, with your permission, the concurrence of all the BAC members, we are requesting for the emergency procurement for the manpower service for CAAP Central Office and area centers for the period of March 2022 until April 2022.
Wait, you're only requesting for emergency procurement for that period? Why don't we just procure it for the entirety of the agreement?
Yes, sir. If that would be the
Because that
best
was the
recommendation,
discussion
we'll
of the
amend.
board. The board did not say that for that period. In fact, the board exercised their reservation clause, effectively declaring the current bidding that we're doing as failure of bidding. That's why we have a meeting today, because
Yes.
in effect we need to make a resolution pursuant to that pronouncement by the board. Okay? So sige, let's do this step by step. Number one, as mentioned by Sir
Yes, sir.
Wilmar, the request for extension was effectively denied. So as it is now, wala tayong kontrata for SERV. I think the HR are doing their part on making sure that our employees are still paid. But secondly, what was discussed is that the Hope, which is the board of directors, exercised their uh, power or their right to use the reservation clause, particularly due to the to declare a failure of bidding due to the failure of the BAC to follow the GPPB pertinent proceedings. Particularly, they are of the position that we should be conducting an emergency procurement rather than regular procurement due to the urgency of the matter, considering there is valid grounds. So the Hope has already declared this a failure. So tayo, wala naman tayong choice. But we need to make the corresponding resolution on that. Do you have any comments on this particular aspect from our members? If there's none, maybe we can make a motion just adopting the instructions of the Hope. May members ba, do you have any questions regarding this so we can further clarify kung meron pa kayong katanungan?
So, Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
opo. So, ang magiging option natin dito is uh, panibagong procurement ang gagawin.
Yes po, effectively ganun. And in this case, the Hope has further instructions after this particular instruction, and that instruction is to conduct emergency procurement, which we will act on after this. But in the meantime, we need to make an action regarding this particular instruction on the declaration of failure.
Yes, sir. But as regard to the program, so bali kasama pa rin yung technical or tatanggalin na yung technical?
Well, considering that the option being given to us is only to conduct emergency procurement, I don't think this affords for us to revise the terms any further, because if we do so, it defeats the purpose of emergency.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Through the chair,
Sino po yun?
si Joyce pa,
That is
Joyce.
Ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Opo. Sir, yun po. Katulad nga ng sa binanggit nyo, emergency procurement, wala na pong time na magbago ng TOR. Baka po pwedeng kung emergency procurement to, hindi naman po ganun katagal yung ibibigay na kontrata na from March up to December po or kung hanggang kailan po. Baka katulad po ng request ng HR kung po pwede na hanggang April or mas lessen po yung shorter po yung time.
Yes, ma'am. I understand. This is actually a good opportunity to do that. Do you have HR here? However, again, I'm pointing this out because even as much as I'm part of the management, I'm not acting as part of the management here, but we're only merely the back. So I don't think it's for us to decide po, Ma'am Joyce. I'm so sorry. To change the terms. That will have to be a management instruction. And in this case, we have very clear instruction to conduct emergency procurement po, based on the board of directors meeting.
Thank you, sir.
HRD, are you here? Maybe we can have your position on this.
Sir, we have Ma'am Vani and Sir Wilmar.
Oh, yeah,
Sir,
Ma'am Dani, as I remember, yes.
Yes, sir, through the chair. The initial proposal was 3 months, hoping that we can do the new procurement for as we discussed earlier.
No, ma'am, it's we're no
But
longer
for the
requesting the
emergency,
extension. This is not the extension anymore. That was clearly denied. This is
yes,
the
yes, sir.
principal contract.
Yes, sir. Yung sa emergency natin, if we can do it for 3 months and then parallelly, sir, mag-post ulit tayo ng bago. Since I mean, na failure yung isang bidding natin.
Yes, but the recommendation here, ma'am, is in the process, we will be changing the terms. Okay po ba kayo doon?
Yung for the emergency procurement,
Ma'am, sorry.
yung sa mag-emergency procedure tayo, it will be as is dun sa contract,
Yes,
sa
opo.
previous
Wala po
contract.
we don't
Yes,
have
sir.
enough time and leeway to change that. But we're
Yes, sir.
talking about yung further contract that you're talking about as well. Papalitan din po, kaya niyo po bang gawin yan?
Sir, yes, i-separate po yung janitorial sa non-tech. And then yung technical, we're discussing it kung ano yung mas magandang. It's either to maintain it sa CAAP or meron kasing isang suggestion na give it to still the winning provider, pero we will do
Ma'am, sorry, na-cut off.
otherwise we will absorb. Yes, sir. We will absorb the technical personnel kung hindi proceed
Gano'n po
yung
kahaba yung contract?
recommendation. Sir, yun sa bago,
Yes.
sir, 3 years pa din, renewable every year.
Okay, if we're gonna change that, and we're gonna make it 3 months for the extension, not extension, I mean for the immediate emergency procurement, we will have to secure the approvals po. We need to ensure kaya ma-secure approvals by DDGH and Milo, as well as the DG.
Yes, sir, in 3 months.
So, okay po sa inyo?
Sorry.
Sige po. But before we proceed there, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. We need to act first on the recommendation for the declaration of failure. And then we return it for the procurement under emergency procurement. And then kung anong gagawin yung timeline, we leave that at the discretion of the end user, of course, with approval of the management. Provided, of course, that this will be done as soon as possible because we're working under the pressure na emergency procurement tayo. Sige, let's have a motion please first on the failure. Can we do that? We're not declaring it ourselves, we're just adopting the instructions of the board of directors.
Mr. Chair, if I may, sir, just to clarify everything, just to summarize, sir, we are declaring a failure of bidding for this is the first procurement process in which LServ was disqualified due to a conflict of interest with APSCO, sir. This is what we are declaring. So this is what the board declared as failure last time, sir, and no extension of contract was granted to...
No, we're declaring failure
Background.
dito sa bid evaluation nyo ngayon.
So, sir, I will be presenting the bid evaluation report, sir.
Hindi na ka. Final na nga ng board of directors. There's no point. The board of directors already instructed for this particular bidding to be declared in failure due to their position that we should be conducting emergency procurement instead.
Yes, sir. Apologies, sir. So, to summarize, the board declared a failure of bidding using the reservation clause. So that is what we are asking for a resolution from the BAC Bravo for today. Maybe request for a motion from the members, please.
To the Chair, I move to adopt the recommendation as manifested by the by the Board of Directors through the BAC PWG. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have a second?
Seconded, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. All right. It being filled now, we're at the juncture wherein this will be returned to the end user as well as to be resubmitted to the back for conduct of emergency procurement as instructed as well. But in terms of how the changes that's being recommended, we leave that up to the end user with the guidance of the management. Okay po ba, Ma'am Vani? Kasi that's beyond the ambit of the BAC's authority to decide po.
Mar po, sir. Yes, sir. Noted po, sir.
Paalam nyo lang, kung papayag naman sila ng 3 months or 1 year shorter, pwede naman yun. But tayo dito sa BAC will just follow their directions. Okay? Sige. Thank you. With that, let's go back, Attorney Irish.
Sir, for our agenda for today, sir, we have the determination of shortlisted consultant for the project survey services for the extension and expansion of Vigan Airport amounting to 2,533,755 pesos. This is an ADMS DOTR downloaded project, sir. I will be presenting this one, sir. May I confirm if my screen is seen? To proceed with the report, this is the eligibility check and shortlisting of prospective bidders. This is for the consultancy procurement of survey services for the extension and expansion of Vigan Airport. This is a two-phase bidding. First is the eligibility and shortlisting. So, the location of the project is in Vigan, Ilocos Sur. The approved budget for the contract is 2,533,755 pesos. The submission was opened last March 10, 2022 at the CAAP conference room and via Google Meet. So during the opening, we previously shortlisted Luis L. Noble of Noble Surveying Office for this project due to the disqualification of the other interested bidders. Luis L. Noble Surveying Office was initially rated as pass during the opening of eligibility documents for having submitted the required documents specified in the checklist using in non-discretionary pass or fail criteria. And also, during the evaluation, they were rated as pass and eligible to participate in this bid. So, these are our findings for the project. The criteria and rating system for shortlisting was provided by the end user, and these are the ratings that the prospective bidder got. So for the applicable experience of the firm, they got a rating of 40. For the qualification of personnel who may be assigned to the project, they got a 38.56. For the job capacity, considering that they have no existing projects, they got a 20% rating. So all in all, they got a 98.56 as a rating, and their submission is considered as complete and passed and above the minimum eligibility score of 70%. So Luis L. Noble also submitted contracts similar in nature and complexity, as well as their ongoing contracts. And Considering all submitted documents, the submission of Noble Surveying Office was evaluated to be complete, and the total points based on the criteria and rating system for shortlisting is rated as passed. So, considering all that, the BAC-TWG recommends that Noble Surveying Office be shortlisted to attend the pre-bid conference for having been evaluated and considered as eligible to undertake the project procurement of survey services for the extension and expansion of Vigan Airport for the consideration of the committee.
All right. Do we have any further comments from our members? If there's none, let's have a motion, please.
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, sir.
The motion is to adopt the recommendation of the technical working group to award the procurement to award the survey services for the extension of expansion of Vigan Airport to Nobly Surveying Office. Sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. Do you have any second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. There being motion duly seconded, the recommendation of TWG will be adopted and the motion is hereby carried. Can we proceed, please? Attorney Iris.
So the next agenda is the determination of shortlisted consultant for the survey services for the expansion and extension of Virac Airport, amounting to 2,575,755 pesos. This is also an ADMS DOTR downloaded project, sir. I will be presenting this one as well. So this is also a two-phased bidding. So we had the eligibility, and this is for the first phase, the eligibility check and shortlisting of our prospective bidder. So this is for the procurement of survey services for the extension and expansion of Vigan Airport, and the approved budget for the contract is 2,575,755 pesos. And this was opened last March 10, 2022 at the CAAP conference room. As a background, the following prospective bidders expressed their interest to participate in the procurement for the above-mentioned project, namely BAC Surveying and Titling Services and Luis L. Noble or Noble Surveying Office. However, among these two consultants, BAC Surveying and Titling Services was disqualified for failure to comply with BDS Clause 16.4 for failure to have the necessary pagination as well as initials in every page. So we have Luis L. Noble of Noble Surveying Office, who was initially rated as pass during the opening of eligibility documents for having submitted the required documents specified in the checklist using a non-discretionary pass or fail criteria. So these are our findings. Noble Surveying Office also submitted the same qualifications as previously as they also did with Vigan. So they also got the same rating using the criteria provided by our end user in the bid document. So the applicable experience of the firm is 40%. So they got 40. For the qualification of personnel who may be assigned to the project, they got a rating of 38.56. For the job capacity, they got 20, considering that they have no pending projects. So all in all, they got 98.56. Their submission is rated as is considered as complete and passed and above the minimum eligibility score. So considering that all the submitted documents, the submission of Noble Surveying Office was evaluated to be complete, and the total points based on the criteria and rating system for shortlisting is rated as passed. For the recommendation of the TWG, uh, the TWG recommends that Noble Surveying Office be shortlisted to attend the pre-bid conference for having been evaluated and considered as eligible to undertake the project procurement of survey services for the extension and expansion of Virac Airport for the consideration of the committee.
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Arnel. Go ahead, please.
Motion is to adopt the recommendation of technical working group to uh, for Noble Surveying Office be shortlisted and participate in the forthcoming pre-bid conference, Mr. Chair.
I second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. There being a motion duly seconded, the recommendation of the TWG is hereby adopted and the motion is carried. Let's move along, please. Thank you.
For the next project, sir, it is the determination of shortlisted consultant for the project survey services for the extension and expansion of Rojas Airport amounting to 9,187,920 pesos. This is also an ADMS-DOTR downloaded project. So for this project, sir, as I mentioned earlier, this is the for the procurement of survey services for the extension and expansion of Rojas Airport. This is a two-phased project. This is the first phase, which is the determination of the shortlisted participants or bidders. This is for the Rojas Airport, which is the location of the project, and the approved budget is 9,187,920 pesos. And this was opened last March 8, 2022 at the CAAP conference room. During the opening of bids, the following prospective bidders expressed their interest to participate by submitting their bid proposals, which are Noble Surveying Office, HO Noveloso Surveying, BAC Surveying and Titling, and Roxas Surveying and Realty. During the opening, sir, the four BAC Surveying and Titling Services, as well as Rasa Surveying and Realty and HO Noveloso Surveying were disqualified for failure to comply with BDS Clause 16.4, requiring that each and every page shall be sequentially paginated and initialed by its authorized representative. Only Luis L. Noble or Noble Surveying Office was initially rated as passed during the opening of eligibility documents. And they underwent the evaluation for the rating for the shortlisting. So these are the findings. So for the applicable experience, they got 40. For the qualification of personnel who may be assigned to the project, they got 38.56. For the job capacity, they got 20 and got a total rating of 98.56. Their submission is considered as complete and passed and above the minimum eligibility score of 70%. So considering all the submitted documents, the submission of Noble Surveying Office was evaluated to be complete and the total points based on the criteria and rating system for shortlisting is rated as passed. With that, the technical working group hereby recommends that Noble Surveying Office be shortlisted to attend the pre-bid conference for having been evaluated and considered as eligible to undertake the project procurement of survey services for the extension and expansion of Rojas Airport for the consideration of the committee.
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Motion is to adopt the recommendation of the technical working group to for Noble Surveying Office be shortlisted in the procurement of survey services for the extension and expansion of Rojas Airport.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Ngayon, sirs, there being a motion duly seconded, the recommendation is hereby adopted and the motion is carried. Let's proceed, Attorney Irish.
Sir, we would like to manifest, sir, that the next item, sir, is not for bid evaluation report, but for post-qualification report, sir. We apologize for the mistake, sir. So this is for the consultancy services for the conduct of detailed engineering design of the expansion of passenger terminal building at Davao International Airport amounting to 11,843,600 pesos. This is under negotiated procurement, sir. So the name of the project, as mentioned earlier, is the Consultancy Services for the conduct of detailed engineering design of the expansion of passenger terminal building at Davao International Airport. So the location is at Francisco Bangoy International Airport at Davao City. The approved budget is 11,843,600 pesos. And this was opened last March 4, 2022 at the CAAP conference room. So we have a sole submission, which is Urban Integrated Consultants Incorporated. So during the bid evaluation, the single rated bid for submitted by Urban Integrated Consultant is 11,841,600 pesos. And for the findings, for the eligibility document, they submitted a PhilJEP certificate of registration, which we considered responsive. It is valid until February 11, 2023. For the registration certificate from the SEC, they also they were able to submit it. The certificate of incorporation was issued last February 21, 1980, and the amended articles of incorporation was also submitted, which we considered responsive. For the business or mayor's permit, this was issued by Quezon City and valid until January 17, 2023, which is responsive. For the tax clearance, the tax clearance that was submitted is valid until January 18, 2023, which is responsive. For the statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, they submitted an updated list of ongoing projects as of March 2022, which is responsive. For the single largest completed contract is for the consultancy services for the detailed engineering design of the horizontal infrastructure project of Clark International Airport new terminal building in the amount of 54,571,120 pesos, which is above our the ABC of this project, which is responsive. So for the audited financial statement, they submitted their audited financial statement for fiscal year 2019 and 2020, which is responsive. And joint venture agreement is not applicable. So for the technical proposal submission, their submission is responsive. Bid security also notarized. They submitted a notarized bid securing declaration, which is responsive. For the key staff of the bidder required under the terms of reference, they also their submission is also responsive. For the curriculum vitae of the key personnel, their submission is also responsive. For the consultants' references, their submission is responsive, as well as the description of methodology and work plan. Also, the team composition and task projects in accordance with the prescribed form is submitted and is responsive, as well as the time schedule of professional personnel, which is responsive. The activity of work or submitted activity schedule for the project is considered as responsive. And the omnibus warning statement is signed and notarized, which is responsive. For the financial document, they submitted the total bid offered is 11,841,600 pesos.
Yung mabigat na naman
And
yan. Magano siya?
Medyo healthy.
Ibig sabihin, veggies.
Ano siya? Hindi.
Hindi rin.
Ito fish.
So, for the summary of cost, it is in accordance with the prescribed form and is considered as responsive. The breakdown of price per activity is also responsive and in accordance with the bidding form. For the breakdown of remuneration, it is also in accordance with the bidding form. Reimbursable per activity is also responsive, as well as the miscellaneous expenses. So, as per document shown for verification in connection with the post-qualification, they were able to prepare the original documents and submit it with the BAC Secretariat within 5 days. So, the latest income and business tax returns were submitted. They submitted for the business tax period of January 1, 2020, as well as for for the income tax period of January 31, 2020, which is responsive. For the appropriate licenses and permits required by law stated in the bid data sheet, they submitted their PCAB license and SEC registration, as well as mayor's permit, tax clearance, and jobs registration, which is considered as responsive. For the latest audited financial statement, they also their submission is also responsive. And as for their key personnel, they submitted the PRC licenses and accreditations, as well as they during the post qualification they also presented their key personnel together with their licenses, which is their submission is considered as responsive. So, with reference to the above findings, the bid proposal of Urban Integrated Consultants Incorporated was evaluated and considered as the single-rated responsive bid for the project entitled Consultancy Services for the conduct of detailed engineering design for the expansion of passenger terminal building at Davao International Airport. And in this regard, the contract, the TWG recommends to award the contract in the amount of 11,841,600 pesos and 600 pesos to Urban Integrated Consultants Incorporated for having complied with the legal, technical, and financial requirements for the consideration of the committee.
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Move to adopt the recommendation of the technical working group
Thank you.
to award to Urban Integrated Consultants Incorporated the consultancy services for the expansion of terminal building in Davao Airport, and the bid amount of 11,841,600 pesos, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. There being a motion duly seconded, the recommendation of the TWG is hereby adopted and the motion is carried. Can we proceed, please?
Kompleto na ba? Lahat? Yung iba po ginagawa ko ito.
Sir, for the next project, sir, it is the our next agenda, sir, is the presentation of bid evaluation report for the project purchase of pre-printed PCVCR 80 cards, YMCK ribbons, etc., amounting to 954,000 pesos. This is a licensing and certification department project. This is for direct contracting. So, sir, for this project, sir, this was opened last December 27, 2022. However, the bid evaluation report was delayed due to confirmation with the budget department for the budget of this project, as well as the manifestation of the end user that their supplier will not be able to produce the red ribbon for the certificate of sole distributorship for the contract. So they manifested that the BAC give leeway to for their supplier to submit such document. So as a background, Aperture Training Corporation, the exclusive distributor of Niska card printer products, including its consumables and spare parts in the Philippines, submitted a bid proposal in response to the request for quotation. So, during the opening of bids, they submitted their bid proposal in the amount of 953,850 pesos. However, they submitted an incomplete bid. So, Aperture Trading Corporation failed to provide the required certificate of exclusive distributorship as required under Section 50 of the IRR of 9184. Under the GPPB non-policy matter 1110-2014 in relation to COA Circular 2009-001, it provides that exclusive distributorship does not per se give rise to the use of direct contracting as an alternative mode, and the supplier must prove through documentation that it is the sole source of said goods required. So, with reference to the above findings, the TWG recommends that the bid proposal submitted by Aperture Trading Corporation be disqualified for failure to submit the required certificate of exclusive distributorship for the consideration of the committee.
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Move to adopt the recommendation of the Technical Working Group to disqualify the Aperture Trading Corporation for failure to submit the required certificate of exclusive distributorship for this project, Mr. Chair.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. There being a motion duly seconded, the recommendation is hereby adopted and the motion is carried. Do you have anything else, Secretary?
Sir, for this project, sir, we would like to ask the end user, sir, since the TWG also recommends for the declaration of failure of bidding for this project due to the disqualification of Aperture Trading Corporation, sir.
Go ahead.
And may we ask the end user what would be their recommendation for this project, considering that they will be needing the PVC cards as well as the other items for this project. Sir, we have Engineer Christian Cala for this, sir,
Okay.
for our end user. Christian.
Mr. Chair, we would like to request that the mode of procurement to be changed to SVP. Is that possible, sir?
Bakit? Kasi hindi muna bago kami mag-decide, pamihira naman. Okay, what's the reason?
Mr. They cannot produce the apostille documents of the exclusive distributorship, sir. So we would like just to post it as SVP, sir,
Sorry, can
as
you,
a mode of procurement.
can you just go back a bit? Anong, Attorney Irish, ano bang ano nito? Anong background nito? This was posted as regular
Usually,
procurement?
no, sir. This is for the recontracting, sir. Because
For the recontracting.
Aperture Trading is the sole distributorship of the items needed by the licensing department, sir. However, they were not able to provide their certificate of sole distributorship, sir.
And we accordingly disqualified them?
Yes, sir.
Na-DQ na?
Yes, sir. For this project, sir, we just reported it po.
Tapos ngayon, ang request is to change the to ano mo process? This is the first time it's being DQ'd?
Yes, sir.
And you're not gonna change the term?
Sir, we are not going to change the term, sir. They still requested for the procurement of the same item, sir. However, considering that we are this previous project, sir, is for direct contracting because of Aperture is the sole distributor, they were not able
I
to
understand
provide
that. Anong project ba to?
procurement for the purchase of pre-printed PCVR cards, YMCK ribbons, and etc., sir.
Amounting to 954. Dinirect contracting. Bakit natin dinirect contracting?
Kasi sole distributor si, ano po, sir, si Aperture Trading.
And if ASVP natin, wala yung requirement na sole distributorship?
Yes, sir. Yung certificate lang po yung hindi nila ma-provide, sir.
Sige. Meron na tayong reso nito na naka-DQ.
Yes, sir. Meron na po. We will issue the resolution for the disqualification, sir.
Okay. Sige. Do you have any comments from our members? Sinong end user dito? Sorry. Naguguluhan ako.
Licensing department po.
FSIS.
Mr. Christian Cala. Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any comments from our members regarding this this request? Because now we're pretty much back from the start, which is the determination of mode of procurement. Considering it's let's not consider this as a shift or as a change of mode, but rather consider that this has already been failed and was returned. We're restarting the process and now we're in the mode of procurement determination. Dapat ganun ang presentation nyo eh. Para ang hirap kasi parang lumalabas, pinapalitan lang namin yung mode. So let's present this from the start. The recommendation is for SPP. Do you have any comments from our members?
I agree, Mr. Chair, to the recommendation po.
Alright, thank you, ma'am. Do you have any second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Sige. There being a motion duly seconded, the recommendation is hereby adopted. Let's post this for SVP. Thank
Yes,
you.
will comply. Sir, our next project is the presentation of the bid evaluation report for the lease of aircraft for CAAP-FICG flight operations mission nationwide amounting to 127,050,000 pesos. This is an FICG project. So, the project duration is for 1 year from the issuance of the notice to proceed. This was published last February 18, 2022, and this was opened last March 14, 2022 at the CAAP conference room. So, as a background, the following bidders purchased the bid documents and participated in the procurement of the project entitled Lease of Aircraft for CAAP-FICG Flight Operations Mission Nationwide. So we only have Asian Aerospace Corporation, which is the lone bidder. So the lone bidder submitted its bid proposal within the deadline, and the proposal was opened and checked in the presence of the bidder's representative. The bid proposal of Asian Aerospace Corporation was initially rated as passed during the opening of bids for having submitted the required documents specified in the checklist using the non-discretionary pass or fail criterion. So, with the TWG recommendation, the BAC approved and proceeded with the bid evaluation of Asian Aerospace Corporation's proposal. So, the calculated bid for this project is 127,050,000. So the submitted bid proposal is complete and within the ABC and is considered as the single calculated bid. And the bid proposal of the bidder was asserted as incomplete for complying with the technical specifications and for offering all the required equipments. So with that, Mr. Chair, it is the recommendation of the BAC TWG that the bid proposal of Asian Aerospace Corporation to undergo post-qualification process for being evaluated and considered as the single calculated bid in the amount of 127,050,000 pesos for the project lease of aircraft of CAAP-FICG flight operations mission nationwide for the consideration of the committee.
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt the recommendation of the BAC-TWG for the bid proposal of Asian Aerospace to undergo post-qualification process for being evaluated and considered a single calculated bid for the project entitled Lease of Aircraft for CAAP-FICG flight operations missions nationwide, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do you have a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. There being a motion duly seconded, the recommendation of the WAC-TWG for the conduct of post-qualification process for the bid of Asian Aerospace Corporation is hereby adopted, and the motion is carried. Let's proceed, please.
Sir, that would be all for the agenda for today, sir.
Okay. There being no more items in the agenda, we can adjourn the meeting. Thank you everyone for joining, especially our members. Maraming salamat po. Just kindly keep us posted with the schedule of the back meetings. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Ma'am.
Comply, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po. Thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you.